Benvenuti ad un'altra intervista per Lago Film Fest edizione 2023. Questa è la terza intervista fatta finora per presentarvi i registi dei cortometraggi che avremo in esposizione al Lago Film Fest dal 21 al 29 di luglio. Oggi portiamo un altro concorso della nostri numerosi concorsi di quest'anno, fra i nostri numerosi film. È un corto che viene dalla Princìpî Award Competition, quindi dei nostri registi più giovani, i famosi under 25 che portiamo al Lago come espressione del futuro del cinema, secondo la nostra modesta opinione. Il regista di questo film è un regista costaricense. Ha fatto un film che a noi del team di selezione è piaciuto molto. È un film che esprime in un certo senso un'idea infinita di cinema, delle infinite possibilità di narrazione e del modo in cui esse vengono raccontate. Ma penso che non ci sia modo migliore per parlare del film se non con il regista stesso, quindi adesso passerò il I'm very proud to introduce to you the director of Los Nadadores, Charlie López. Hello, Charlie. How are you?
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. What a full introduction that I did because I don't really speak Italian, but I sort of get I sort of got some things. Yeah, Spanish is not that different.
No, don't worry. No, I only said good things. Don't worry about it. Okay, Charlie. So the first question that I would love to ask you is basically the beginning of it all. So, what was the idea, and what was the reason behind Los Nadadores? How it came to be, and how you processed the movie, and basically how did you get around doing it?
Oh, it was a very simple reason and a very sort of a pure reason that I was working and I am still working in my thesis short film, which is a narrative short film, and it is academic, so it has a lot of process and a lot of tutors and a lot of voices and processes involved. And I sort of grew tired of it in the middle of the process, and it was starting to get very rigid, and it was starting to get very overwhelming in a sense, like too much pressure into only one project. So I decided to just make another project, a smaller one, before shooting my thesis short film. You could say that I did it just for fun, but it was more to just find the playful and the playful and spontaneous way to play with language, with the cinematographic language, and that is basically it. It was to decompress in a way and just play and stop taking it so seriously and stop stressing about it so much. And that's sort of the way it was born.
Okay. And the movie, it's funny that you say that it kind of began as a joke, as a fun way to experiment, because in my opinion, the movie, one of the strengths of the movie is the fact that it's a movie that from nothing speaks about everything. So my question would be, how did you encounter this book, if I'm not mistaken, Ed Ruscha, if I'm not mistaken?
At Rouchet, but yeah,
Ruscha.
probably Rouchet would be, yeah.
Ed Ruscha. Like, how did
Yeah.
you find yourself intrigued by this subject, and basically how did you get from the swimming pools to speak about everything else?
It was, well, yeah, it started with the Ed Boucher photography book, 9 Swimming Pools and a Broken Glass, which is a 10-page photo book, 10 pages, 9 photos of different swimming pools, 1 photo of a broken glass. And I thought it was so funny that it was so ambiguous, yet it conveyed basically anything that you wanted to convey on those pages. You could reflect yourself in whatever feeling in those pictures of swimming pools, and you could even from a narrative side, which you could see a photo and you could invent your own story that what happened in that swimming pool, or you could take it to a more abstract or conceptual way of what a swimming pool meant. So it came from the book, and it came from me sort of laughing at the lack of ideas in the book, but also the possibility of all the ideas in the world within the book. So yeah, it came from there, and I think I sort of just started writing loose ideas, and it wasn't really like a project that had a formal script or a formal screenplay. More, it was more of a treatment of images and ideas of words that could come together in the editing. But yeah, it was me sort of thinking what were my memories of swimming pools, or what would interest me about it. So one was, for example, the history of swimming pools in general, or the history of swimming pools in my hometown of Atenas, Alajuela, Costa Rica, which is the little voiceover sequence with archive photos, or very early memories of swimming pools, like being played drowned by my brother, uh, or those horrible stories that you sort of hear about everyone knows someone who knows everyone whose baby drowned in a pool.
Mm.
And then by exploring those, it sort of got we sort of weave that small narrative about the uh, swimming pool cleaner, that sort of puts everything together. And also we got to other places that are a bit more conceptual, or other ideas, like, well, the idea that I really loved, that was in post production, uh, which was the idea of the swimming pool uh, as your mother, which was like, oh, how didn't that come earlier? That seemed like the base of it all. Or also the idea of well, the memory that me and my friends had, that is like the pool porn subgenre that exists, and it is a very common one. But yeah, that is also present.
Okay. And as you said, while answering the movie, one of the particularity, in my opinion, is the fact that you intertwine archive, real footage, and found footage very well together. And was it always the intention to work with different media, saying that by the fact that it was inspired by such a very scarred book, or was it something that came around making the movie? The fact of mixing together all these elements of media.
It didn't. No, I think it was just something very natural, new, I wanted to explore. And then it was, I believe it, yeah, in film school I was exploring them too, the mix of video with found footage, with VHS, with that sort of collage
Hmm.
element. But I think, yeah, this short film really gave me the opportunity to exploit that resource. The way that it was already conceptually a collage, it made sense that formally we would also use different forms of media. But yeah, it is a resource that I really like to watching movies, and that I play with in my own films. So yeah, it was there from the start.
Okay. And you said that this was done by working on your thesis short movie from the school. Feel by making this movie that like your tutors, or like what the Costa Rican school was teaching you and was aiding you, was something useful for the making of the movie, or did you feel like, okay, no, this is my personal job and I want to express it in my own personal way?
Yeah, it is. Well, yeah, this being uh, a short film that is outside the academy, it gave me a lot more freedom to uh, not justify any any artistic decision, because the film school does let us talk, and they encourage you to talk the personal, and it can be, they can be intimate, very intimate, small stories, but within the formal realm of it all, you have to make a thesis out of it. So the mise en scene has to be more justified. So this was an opportunity to be like, well, I'm gonna do the more amounts of zooms and dollies and weird shit that no one can tell, no one will ask me. It's not like they would stop me from it. They would definitely ask a lot of questions before letting me show it, probably.
Okay. Perfect. So, being this the representation of your personal idea and personal way of making cinema, my next question, which will be the last, is basically what's next after Los Nadadores? Do you think that you will follow this trail of intertwining the different medias in cinema, or do you think this will be more of an experiment, and you'll be focused on such things? Basically, what's next? What do you think it's next, and what are you working in your next jobs and next works?
Oh yeah, I want to you hear me correctly, because I
It's
feel
it's
a
it's
small
tilting a little,
lag.
but like you're coming and going. But now it's stable. Did you hear the question correctly?
Okay. Yes. I
Okay.
did hear the question
Okay.
correctly. Yeah. Yes. What's next for me? My thesis short film is which is coming next to this. It's called Cowboy Stories, and it's a fiction but it is a narrative fiction, but it also mixes media. It is a narrative fiction with some experimental tints or some film essence. So although I am telling a story, which is sort of this a bit of a Costa Rican Western noirish taxi driver Paris, Texas thing set in a very seedy part of San Jose, Costa Rica. It is a very weird thing. Yeah, although it does tell the story of this man looking for an old girlfriend, it it stops to reflect on the idea of masculinity in a way that you see archival footage and you hear the voiceover of his ideas, or you do have some VHS sequences, and you have some an experimental editing and some things. So I think it is a me that I'm not letting go anything soon. So yeah, that is what's next. And also I have some ideas for other perhaps smaller short films. I do film essays.
Okay.
So yeah, I do like a lot the idea of getting inspired by other forms of art, like
Hmm.
this photography book. So yeah, I have an idea of a flower photographer, a German flower
Okay.
photographer that I would like to film essay off, documentary film off. So yeah.
Okay. So you feel that film essay is where you can express yourself in a more complete way.
Yes. I think with essay, I think it is a language that is more permissive
Hmm.
for me to express myself, or to find other ideas that lead me to a next idea. But I do like narrative fiction from time to
Okay.
time. I think there's something very satisfying of watching narrative fiction that is intertwined with more experimental currents. That for me is the movies that I like to watch the most.
Okay. Okay. Well, Charlie, it sounds very interesting, and I hope the public felt the same intrigue that we felt by watching Los Nadadores, and I hope that the public can also feel the way we did by watching it on the big screen in Lago. And I thank you very much. Thank you very much for the lovely talk, and I hope all the best for you and your future projects.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And it is a shame that I won't be able to go to Lago, but you know, someday in the future, I'm pretty
Someday
sure.
in the future, I'm sure. I'm sure. Well,
Yeah.
thank you again,
Yeah.
Charlie. Ciao.
Thank you.